I remember the SS marching through the streets singing, when Jewish blood drips from our knives, then everything is going to get better. The Germans really wanted to catch every Jew. I was with my mother hiding in a little room, and the Nazis just stormed in. The next day we were taken east by train. We jumped down, we saw we were on a platform, and it was Auschwitz. And the next command was men and women to different sides. It was the last time we were together as a family. Sometimes we woke up when the people next to us had died in the sleep. I nearly gave up. But you know, I was stubborn. I didn't want to die, I wanted to experience life. And one day, when the Russians were coming, the Germans had fled, taking most of the inmates with them. Miracle that we didn't go. After the war, I was very angry with the whole world. People could have helped. We still do terrible things. But we have hope that things will get different. I've got a good tip for President Trump, that if he wants to make America big again, he has to get people educated. We have to learn from history.
They say that the human race is doomed, that we have lost touch with our true nature, that the media has corrupted us, and that the planet has no future. I disagree. I believe that humanity is full of hope, and that our salvation lies within each one of us. My name is Brian Rose, and my job is to listen, the oldest method of learning known to man. Each week I seek out individuals that are changing the world, people who are living and thinking in a different way. Their stories will challenge your beliefs, make you question your choices, and perhaps inspire you to change. I never planned on doing any of this, but now I can't stop. Join me on this mission and make humanity something we can all be proud of.
It's time for you to man up, to once and for all tell your mind who the fuck is boss. I need a fucking answer. What's it gonna be?
I don't know what it is about this fucking sport, but it attracts people that really need to do deep work on themselves.
I failed in this city. All these bad memories. I never really felt like I gave a fuck about me or my life. I almost killed myself, like.
Think about something that is going to drive you when it really hurts. Some kind of demon you want to fight.
This is not Pussy Man, this is Iron Man. Under pressure reveals true character. What are you gonna do? You're gonna be in Chattanooga, May 20th or what?
Eva Schloss is extremely unique because she is one of the few remaining Holocaust survivors. She's also the stepsister of Anne Frank, which you know from the Diary of Anne Frank, the story of a young girl in hiding in Amsterdam during the Nazi occupation. And I'm so glad I had this conversation with Eva because it's easy to forget what happens when you don't have it told with someone who was there. And Eva has a harrowing story. She grew up in Austria and everything was okay. And she slowly watched the Nazi party come into power. She went into hiding when she was in Holland. And then on her 15th birthday, she was snatched out of her house and shipped to Auschwitz, where she had a year in captivity, fearing for her life every single day. She was separated from her mother and her father and her brother, but then she was liberated by the Russians and made it out. To me, when she described it, it sounds like the most incredible year anyone could have in their life, full of despair and terror and trauma. She met the doctor, Joseph Mengele. She thought she was going to die almost every single day. And it was a really sobering tale. And when I went home at night and I tried to tell this story to my daughter, it was very difficult. And so this story is worth listening to. So I just want to thank Eva for spending the time and going through all this detail. I think telling the story takes a lot out of her, but we cannot forget that this happened so recently in our history, and we must do everything we can to make sure it never happens again. So I hope you enjoy this conversation with Eva.
London Real doesn't stop when the conversation ends. You see, that's when we get started. Because everything begins with a thought, and then comes the action. The London Real Academy is our global transformation platform. Here we bring together thousands of students from over 75 countries. Whether you want to build a profitable business from your passion, or learn to speak to inspire, or broadcast yourself with your very own podcast, or accelerate your life to become a high-performance person, we have the online accountability course and personal mentoring program that will make your dream a reality. Join us, and we'll take your life to the next level, together. Our next accelerator course is starting soon.
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Eva Schloss, the Holocaust survivor, educator, and peace activist. In 1944, your family was captured by the Nazis and transported to the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp, where you and your mother survived until you were freed in 1945. You're also the stepsister of Anne Frank, whose book, The Diary of Anne Frank, has been published in over 60 languages and tells the story of a 13-year-old girl hiding in Amsterdam from the Nazis. In 2012, you were awarded the MBE, and you have written 3 detailed books about your experiences. Eva, welcome to London Real.
It's a pleasure.
It's great having you here. We were just talking about London and how much it changed. When did you move to this city?
I moved for 1 year in 1952 from Amsterdam. I was going to be a photographer, and Otto Frank, who was my house friend with my mother. At the time they were not married yet. They were just very friendly, and he helped me a lot because I was very, very, very miserable. And so after school I didn't really know what to do with my life, and I didn't really care. And Otto and my mother decided I should become a photographer. And was, you know, okay, why not, you know. And Otto gave me his Leica, because he used to take a lot of very nice pictures of his family and children. But he said, I have no family anymore, so I'm never going to take any more photos. So he gave me this very good camera, and he said, I hope you'll become a successful photographer. And he found me a place in London where I became an apprentice in Woburn Place. And so I moved to London for a year, and another friend who I had known from Amsterdam who had moved to London found me a little lodging in Cricklewood. And it was a Czech lady who ran a little boarding house. And there were about 6-7 people. And there was a young man from Israel who had studied economics. And we became friends, and later became my husband. And then we decided to stay here. But my intention was really just a year to come here.
Okay, probably good for you to get out of Europe and come to a new place.
But that's right, that's what Otto said, will do you good to see something different.
Right.
But at that time I was actually quite shocked about London. First of all, in '52, that was still full of bomb sites. Really big holes and very neglected, And in Holland, I mean, we were not well off, but we had a little apartment with central heating and double glazing and so. And here we had just open fires, and we had when you had a bath, because there was other people, so we had to share a bathroom. We had to pay a penny in to get hot water, and an outside toilet, you know, which we had never ever experienced. Even in Austria, where I was born, in Vienna, in the 30s, we had all these facilities. And we were always told that England, that is an advanced country with all the innovations and the modern and the fashionable. And then when I came to London, I was really shocked. And no food really, you know, just buns and cup of tea and a bit of salad and and in 52 there was still food rationing, which we didn't have anymore in Holland, and certainly not in Germany.
Wow.
So it was really a culture shock.
Very poor, food rationing, dirty. You talked about the smog, the fog, the bad air.
Yeah, it was really amazing. And we thought this is an advanced modern country.
Wow. And the Otto who gave you the camera, that was your stepfather at the time?
Not at that time.
Okay.
But so I became very friendly with this Israeli boy, and after 6 months he said, Eva, I fall in love with you, let's get married, and when I finished my studies we can start a new life, go to Israel. And I said, no thank you, because I have a widowed mother in Amsterdam, and you can imagine we were very, very, very close, and I couldn't imagine I would just desert her. So Otto Frank came very often to London, keep an eye on me, you know. Already he realized I needed a bit of guidance. And I told him that this young man has asked me to marry him, but of course I'm not. And he got a bit embarrassed, and he said, well, when you get settled, your mother and me have fallen in love as well, and we'd like to get married. So I went back to this young man and said, we can marry now, which we did. We went to Amsterdam and we got married there. And Otto and my mother got married a year later.
Wow.
And so that's why he became my stepfather.
Okay. And so Otto Frank was the father of Anne Frank,
Of Anne Frank,
who
correct.
survived her in the war.
He was the only one who survived his family. His 2 girls and his wife died. His wife in Auschwitz and the 2 girls in Bergen-Belsen.
Wow.
Which was the Auschwitz, where I stayed, was liberated in January by the Russians. But Bergen-Belsen was liberated in 1944, no, 45, in April 45, by the British. And she must have died a little bit before the liberation.
Right, okay. And I want to talk later about how Otto, you know, was with you after the war.
Yeah.
I was wondering if we could start about where you were born.
In Vienna, in 1929, in a very wonderful family with aunts and uncles and grandparents and an older brother. And my father had inherited a shoe factory from his father, and he was a very, very good businessman. And so we were not rich, but we were comfortable. And he was he was a daredevil, very sporty, and he was one of the first people in the 30s to buy a car. And we did excursion into the mountains, and he and me, I was as well this sporty. My brother, he was more, later on we realized, he was very artistic and more gentle. But I was really the tomboy in the family. Okay. So I went always with my father mountaineering and things like that. And my mother and brother went with us, but they never went on daring things. They just watched somewhere in a cafe and waited till we came down.
Did you drive the car as well?
My father drove very well. Okay. And you know, going up mountains, those bends, And my mother just started screaming, you know, the roads were not that good at the time. And it was actually quite dangerous. But anyway, my father loved all that, and so did I.